Okay, so 2025, I guess it's going to be potentially quite a big year for enterprise storage, and it'd be good to understand a little bit. I mean, we know about GenAI and the demands that will potentially have, and then there's next gen data protection. So I think I'm right that Infinidat you have put together some, I think it's a five or so predictions. So it'd be good to look at those. And the first one, if I've understood it correctly, is the rise of RAG, and I think that's Retrieval-Augmented Generation. But anyway, tell us some more, please, Eric.
Great. Well, thank you, Philip, for having us join today. We really do appreciate it. Yes, basically RAG allows enterprise storage to optimize AI applications and workloads. Okay. They still need to pick an LLM or an SLM, large language or small language model. They still need to pick the database they want to use to process the data that has vector support. Microsoft, there's a number of different database vendors that support vector databases, which are used in AI. We have created a RAG reference architecture that works on our InfiniBox and our InfiniBox SSA all flash. And basically, the customer comes to us, they tell us what data they want to leverage for the LLM or SLM, what vector database they're using, and then we can put together with them at no charge, by the way, a reference architecture through our professional services team that allows them for any data that's NFS, which would include not only file data, but most databases today have an NFS interface, right? The NFS protocol. And it will allow that RAG then, working with what they're setting up for their AI applications and workloads, to not only get data from the InfiniBoxes, the InfiniBox SSAs that they so designate, but also from our Cloud Edition, InfuseOS Cloud Edition, which is essentially an InfiniBox sitting in the cloud at either Microsoft or Amazon. So if they have any data there they want to use for the AI workload or application, they can leverage that. And as long as the other storage array that's not ours supports NFS, we can pull data from that. So we can aggregate data from an InfiniBox SSA, competitors' data that supports NFS, that if the customer wants it, and our Cloud Edition. So it allows us with the RAG to help optimize their applications and workloads. Obviously, AI is very performance sensitive. And obviously, with our unmatched real world performance, we can help them optimize. Remember, when you're doing AI, it's like a human. If it's done right, you're always supposed to be learning. So for example, if I'm a large manufacturer and I'm going to use AI on my supply chain and ordering model, I'm building things every day, right? Many large manufacturing companies are 24/7, right? And so every day they're building. So you need to order parts. So if I'm a car company, tires, screws, windows, metal, all kinds of things. So the AI can help you do that. And by having it in real time, right? So as it knows what it ordered yesterday, it can figure out what it needs to order today using AI technology. And for that, whatever data is sitting on our storage or our cloud version or the competitors that has the NFS protocol, the end user company, in this case, the car company, can use that to optimize their supply chain and ordering models.
Okay, so if that's maybe I don't know, we call it the trend number one or the most important. Number two possibly isn't far behind, and that would be the shift to cyber focus, I think, in recovery first, right, data protection. And I think the suggestion there is that it's set to transform existing traditional data protection approaches. Just your thoughts on that, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Philip, you look at it this way. The question is not if you'll be attacked, it's when and how often. In the enterprise, for example, one of the leading security analyst firms estimated that the average enterprise suffers over 1,600 attacks per week. And the cost this year, again, an estimate from the security analyst community, the cost to enterprises to protect, to buy technology they need, to pay ransom if necessary, any of the other costs associated with an attack, be that a malware or ransomware attack, is estimated to be 10.5 trillion US dollars. So this is a serious, serious, serious issue. So not only do you need to take preventative measures at the edge in the network, in your application layer and on your storage, you have to assume they're going to get through. So just as if you had a real disaster, a flood, a hurricane, an earthquake, a fire in the data center, which is still the most common form of data loss, you then have a disaster and you recover, right? So view a cyber attack when they get through as essentially a form of disaster. So you need to recover as fast and accurately as possible so that you can get your business up and running again. So that involves a couple different things. So first of all, we, of course, with our InfiniSafe-based technology, provide the immutable snapshots. We provide a fenced forensic environment. We provide rapid recovery, which we're going to talk about in a second. And we also provide logical air gapping. So I've had an attack now, and I need to recover. So first of all, you have to identify a known good copy. Malware and ransomware are not like King Kong and Godzilla screaming at the top of their lungs every time they're on the screen. It's all done like the ultimate secret agent, surreptitiously you don't know. So you could be making copies of malware and ransomware when you're creating your snapshots. Okay. Same thing when you're doing regular backups, right? Whatever backup software you use. So what you want to do is you've had an attack. You need to get a known good copy. Otherwise, all you're doing is putting the malware or ransomware back, right? So you can use our InfiniSafe cyber detection technology. You take a candidate, a snapshot, you put it in the fenced forensic environment, right, which walls it off, and then you scan. And if you find malware or ransomware, you go to another candidate and another candidate and another candidate. And once you find a known good copy, which could be the first time, right? Just because you've had a cyber attack doesn't mean it's on all the storage in your data center. It could be on 2 arrays if you have 50. It could be on 20 if you have 50. It really could be on all 50. So you take that and find the known good copy of the data, and then you do a recovery. And our recovery times, our recovery time objective is guaranteed. So we guarantee on the InfiniBox and our InfiniBox All Flash, the SSA, we guarantee recovery in under 1 minute, no matter how big the data set size is. In fact, Philip, in the middle of September, we did a live webinar because I'm a crazy old man, as you know. So we only do things live. So during that webinar, which was live, it's obviously recorded now, but if you were on with us in mid-September, you would have seen a recovery of 4 petabytes of primary storage on an InfiniBox in 4 seconds. We guarantee under a minute. That could have been 10 petabytes. It could have been 15 petabytes. It could have been 1 petabyte under a minute. Now, we also did a demo on the backup side. So in this case, we recovered a Veeam 25 petabyte backup repository. Now, that could have been Commvault. It could have been IBM Spectrum. It could have been Veritas. It doesn't matter because we work with all the major backup vendors. Anyway, we did that recovery in a little bit over 12 minutes. We guarantee under 20. So A, you need to get a known good copy first because you're going to get attacked. So you need to be prepared. And B, you need to do it as fast as you can once you've got that known good copy, which we deliver. We really do recommend that end users perceive a cyber attack literally as if it was a natural disaster. You need to get up and running, right? Almost everyone these days is 365, 24/7. So it's very, very important they have a nice recovery strategy and recover quickly and cleanly, because recovering malware or ransomware when you think you've cleaned it up means you still got malware or ransomware. So that's the other trend. And it is critical. In fact, PwC does what they call the Pulse survey. They do it every single quarter. They do it in October of 2024, and it's CEOs, obviously. And in that, the number one concern of CEOs, despite the economies, despite some of the conflict in the world, despite some of the environmental issues in the world, the number one concern was cybersecurity.
Okay, that's food for thought. And trend number 3, hybrid, I guess, is a word that everyone in the IT industry is pretty familiar with by now. Everything seems to be hybrid, but I think, again, trend number 3 is that best of both worlds, hybrid multi-cloud storage is going to be an important factor. So talk us through that one, please.
Sure. So when cloud first came out, a lot of IT managers fought it. Now, I'm a native Californian, and as we say in California, you don't fight waves, you ride them. So what you want to do is optimize the cloud, and you use the cloud appropriately. Several storage analysts have looked at cloud deployment models and what their customers are really doing on the end user side. And they have a couple recommendations. A, for disaster recovery and business continuity, use the cloud as your disaster recovery target. B, for backup workloads. C, for burst capacity, right? If I need extra capacity temporarily, I use it. And D is DevOps, right? So go ahead, develop in the cloud. That doesn't mean you're going to deploy in the cloud, right? You can use the cloud development model and then deploy on-prem. Remember, in today's world in the enterprise, most enterprises are using a private cloud. They are mimicking what Amazon and Google and Microsoft do on-prem. So hybrid multi-cloud is deciding what data belongs where. Okay, we've got the 4 recommendations from the storage analyst community, which we agree with. You want to take a look at a couple factors when you decide how you're going to do hybrid multi-cloud. And hybrid multi-cloud means some data is on-prem, some data is off-prem, and multi-cloud means you support multiple clouds. Large global Fortune 500s may have some data in Amazon and some data in Microsoft, right? Depending on the locality, depending on the cost, depending on just the IT guy's preference in the various data centers of these large global Fortune 500 companies. So you want to make sure you're profiling the data appropriately. What makes sense to go to the cloud? What are the performance characteristics you need? What are the security characteristics you need? What are the costs you need? Highly transactional workloads are constantly having ingress and egress, if you will, in and out. And you're paying networking fees every time you're going in and out. So I was with a guy who was a CIO. I've known him for years and years. And the president of, in this case, a university in the United States, said we should be all cloud. Well, he was really smart. He profiled the workloads. He got someone from the CFO of the university to profile all the major cloud vendors. Okay. And what he found out was highly transactional workloads are actually more expensive in the cloud than on-prem. Okay. And again, on-prem meaning a private cloud. So basically what they did is they used it for disaster recovery and business continuity. They used it for backup. They use it for burst, and they use it for DevOps. Exactly what the storage analyst is what my friend, what he does as CIO of a major university in the United States. So that's what you want to do. Profile the workloads, understand the cost you need to hit, understand the security concerns, and then you can, and the availability, the same thing. For example, Infinidat offers 100% availability on our Infinibox and our Infinibox SSA all flash. No cloud vendor offers 100% availability. So if you determine that workload A, B, and C require 100% availability, then it needs to be in your private cloud. That doesn't mean you're not taking application A, B, and C and backing up to the cloud, but for day-to-day usage, you need 100% availability. So you back it up to the cloud, perfect use case, but the day-to-day use is in your private cloud because you have to have 100% available. You can't have it going down. And none of the cloud vendors, as much as we love them, because we work with all of them, and we have a huge, huge swath of our customer base that are medium and small cloud providers that use us as that rock solid foundation for their clouds that they provide, whether it be storage as a service, software as a service, database as a service, disaster recovery service, backup, right? We have cloud providers all over the world that use us for that. So we love them. At the same time, not one cloud provider I've ever seen, big, medium, or small, offers 100% availability. So if you're a global Fortune 500, you really think you need that, then that needs to be on your private cloud, aka on-prem. So everybody needs to embrace it, whether it's the end users themselves and leverage the cloud where they need to, but understand the cost, the security, and the availability and the performance that they need. And of course, the channel partners that support the end users need to understand this as well, so they choose the right solution. I view it as what I call the right tool for the right job.
Okay, and then if we move on to the fourth trend that's been identified, and that I think is to do with the continuing demand for automated and optimized enterprise storage. So perhaps in my words, not as exciting as say RAG, etc., but still an important thing to be focusing on. Is that right?
Yeah. So Phil, as you guys have written about in your magazine and your websites, there's an IT skills gap, right? There's all this demand going up because of AI, cyber. For example, in the US, because I saw a survey, the number of open jobs for cybersecurity, there's 25% of them are unfilled and they can't fill them. So that's an IT skills gap, right? You also had, for those that can remember back in 2008 and 9, there was a big, big recession globally, and IT manpower was particularly hit. Now, once that recession went away, people got rehired, but they didn't rehire infrastructure administrators, storage administrators. They hired DevOps people, software people. So what it means is since that big layoff back in '08 and '09, the amount of storage an admin has to manage is way higher. Not to mention that between '08 and '09 and 2025, the level of growth is exponential, right? So it's not only more storage being created and utilized by their companies, but it's also, instead of having 10 storage admins, you only have 3 now. Doesn't mean, and you've got an IT skills gap. They may or may not be able to do things. So what you need out of your enterprise storage is the capability of having service-oriented automation and a set it and forget it mentality. So the service-oriented automation is all about ease of use and automated services. For example, we often detect an issue as simple as a bad cable or bad power supply before our customers because we've automated the fault methodology so that we know. Now, it doesn't mean we don't tell the end user, and our software will tell the end user, but it also tells our technical support team and our technical advisor that array X at company Y has some power supply issues. So we let them know. And in fact, our customers have told us that almost 70% of the time, we know there's an issue before they do. So that's automation, right? And then we are very proactive about that. In fact, around 60% of the tech support problems we actually can solve automatically with no human intervention on their side. Again, there's an IT skills gap, so you want to automate. Second thing you want to do is the capability of having a set it and forget it mentality. Essentially, you install it and it just runs and runs and runs. So we have a number of public references, both ours, and as you know, Gartner has end users write reviews, not the Gartner analysts, but end users called the Gartner Peer Insights. 6 times we have won the Customer's Choice Award. And when they fill out these little forms, Gartner makes them public. So there's 20 or 30 easily, maybe more, where one of the quotes right off the Gartner website is, we had an Infinibox or an Infiniguard or Infinibox SSA for 2-3 years. We've never touched it. Talk about taking care of the IT skills gap. So that's why it's important. It's not sizzly, it's not sexy, but it is a huge cost to the companies, right? IT manpower and operations. And by having this service-oriented automation, we take care of a lot of stuff automatically. By having this set it and forget it mentality. And also, one thing we do provide at no cost to our end users, by the way, are technical advisors. These are not technical support people. The technical advisor's job is to help them optimize applications, workloads, and use cases. We have a separate tech support team. So do the technical advisors know if there's a tech support issue? Of course they do. But the tech support team takes care of that. The technical advisor's job is optimizing that Oracle workload, that AI workload, helping them understand how critical cyber storage resilience and cyber storage recovery is to a comprehensive cybersecurity strategy, and then deploying our InfiniSafe technology as part of this overall cybersecurity strategy. So those are the things, although not sizzly and sexy, help them save money, help them optimize their IT resources, which, as you know, there's a dramatic global IT skills gap, so this helps dramatically.
Okay, and then last but not least, the final trend number 5, and I think that's around the importance of having a unified approach to data infrastructure modernization. So again, if you can just expand on that, that'd be fantastic.
Sure. So we do that in 2 ways. First of all, we've already touched on this with hybrid cloud. The InfuseOS Cloud Edition, when an end user sees it, or one of our boxes on-prem sees it, it looks like it's an Infinibox. Now, that's our software sitting on top of physical infrastructure from Microsoft or from Amazon, but it appears to us, to the end user, to our backup partners, it looks like they're backing up to an Infinibox, which happens to be out at Amazon. Now, it's not really an Infinibox, it's our software sitting on the physical infrastructure of Amazon or Microsoft, right? So that's one area, okay, that hybridness capability. The second thing is having on our storage both file and block. So we provide both the file and the block interfaces on our storage. Now, other people do it, but usually it requires a separate appliance. We don't. Our file system is integrated into our main array versus having a separate device that you attach to your array. So it makes it easier to manage for them, easier to manage for us, less support problems because you don't have a separate physical device to be the filer head that works with your block device. And a lot of other vendors, that's how they do it. They use this other appliance with their block array to create a block and file solution for their end users. We have not done that. We have integrated into the basic architecture of the design, both the file and the block protocols. So that makes it easier. It gives you that unification. So you've got unifying with the cloud with our InfuseOS Cloud Edition. Again, that hybrid multi-cloudness is about unifying across your private cloud on-prem and your public cloud that you use, right? So that gives you a unified view of things, a unified way to manage, a unified GUI, right? It's the same GUI and the same features. Our InfiniSafe technology on an InfiniBox or InfiniBox SSA is available in InfuseOS Cloud Edition. Now, in that case, the physical infrastructure is not ours, but it works the same way. So our immutable snapshots, it's all the same if you do it in the cloud. Again, unified, making it easier. And then, of course, having file and block in the same solution versus having one where you call it a solution, but you have to add this extra device, which is more complex. So that's the value of what we mean by unification, both on-prem and off-prem with cloud, and also file and block in a single device, making it way easier and without any extra assist built in intrinsically into the device, the InfiniBox or the InfiniBox SSA.
Okay, that's the trends covered, and maybe just before we finished, I don't know, the other highlights. I mean, you referenced there the sort of the Gartner accolades you are receiving, and I think also there's some good news from, is it GigOm, that have sort of recognized you. So I don't know if that's something you want to share or any other
Sure.
highlight.
Well, from our perspective, it's not what I say. It's what the end users say, the analysts say, right? Because they don't work for us. So, in fact, today, theCUBE, one of the leading industry analysts for theCUBE SiliconANGLE, they announced some awards, and we are a finalist for top storage innovation for our InfiniBox G4, which we announced in May. And we're also up as a finalist for the top storage cybersecurity technology with our InfiniSafe cyber detection. We've won multiple awards from GigaOM, from DCIG, from Gartner with Peer Insights. And again, on the Peer Insights side, that's end users saying we have the best solution. So we won last year alone 36 awards. And this year so far in 2025, we know we've won 6. Now, 2 are public. There's another set of announcements coming tomorrow. There's another one next week, another one in February where they've already told us, which I can't disclose. But the point is, those are people who don't carry Infinidat badges, don't get paid by Infinidat. These are independents. And of course, they, from an analyst and press perspective, they talk to end users all the time, including end users who have our product and a competitor's, right? As you know, in the global Fortune 500, it's very common not to have one storage vendor. That's unusual, right? It's having multiple. So when the analysts talk to ABC, Global Enterprise, right, or the press they say, blah, blah, blah about Infinidat, but we also have XYZ. So they can see what the end users think. So that's where we see incredible value of these, third-party accolades we're getting, whether it be the InfiniBox SSA, on InfiniSafe now, well, with today, the announcement today by theCUBE, we've won or been a finalist 19 times in 2 years for InfiniSafe. So when you're looking at integrating storage into a comprehensive cybersecurity strategy, not leaving storage out of that equation, which we would say you shouldn't be doing. It's like leaving your doors and windows wide open when you go on holiday and saying, come steal my stuff. Where's the data in an enterprise? Most of it's sitting on your enterprise storage. So you might want to make it cyber secure, because when I go on a holiday, I don't leave my doors wide open and I don't post on social media, hey, I'm on vacation, come steal my stuff. But if you don't include storage in a comprehensive cybersecurity strategy, that is essentially what you're doing, because they're in there, they're getting in. The cyber criminals are sophisticated. They're not like what you see in some old crime movie, right, with the machine guns and all this other stuff. That's not what they do, right? They are very well educated, and they do it, it's bad and it's illegal, but they do it from, if you will, a technology perspective. So you got to make sure you're fighting that with technology, right? So that would be the last thing, right, is those accolades across the portfolio, across the software. InfuseOS Cloud Editions won all kinds of awards as well. It's not just what we say, it's what particularly the end users say with peer insights, and what the storage analysts and the press say about our technology by talking to end users.
Okay, as ever, I mean, it's been fantastic to chat to you, Eric, and shared some great insights. And I'm sure we will continue the conversation at various stages in the year ahead. But at least for now, appreciate your time. Thank you.
Great, Phil. Thank you very much. We love talking to you, and just let us know. We'll talk a little bit later in the year.
Will do, and thanks again.
Thank you.